Welcome to Between Both Cheeks, the podcast where we talk business, beauty, and butts. We'll be stripping down the aesthetics industry, whether you're here for spicy beauty tips, savvy business advice, or just a little banter. We've got you covered from front to back. So pull up a cheek and get ready to discover what happens between both cheeks.
Welcome, everyone. How is everyone doing this week? I have a very special guest on this week with me. Manuel is here originally from Portugal, right?
Correct.
And we met dancing in Thailand. Bachata dancing in Bangkok. That's right. And then I saw you. Well, I didn't know it was you. I saw you in Barcelona, and I walked up to you and I said, "You have a twin in Thailand." And you said, "No, we danced in Thailand." And I was like, whoa, this is insane. And then we saw each other again in Poland and danced there. So this is how small this bachata community is. You're an incredible dancer, number one.
Thank you. I do my best. Many people say that, but I still feel like I need to improve so much.
We're all like that though, right? Where we're so hard on ourselves, right? But I remember dancing with you in Bangkok and I was like, oh my God, he's like one of the best leads here. Like very nerve-wracking dancing with you.
Wow. Well, I feel like my dancing changed a lot since Bangkok.
Of course.
Now I see videos of myself from that time and I'm like, oh my God.
Isn't it crazy when you're posting stuff that you're like, wow, this is so good. And then you go back and you're like, oh, that's so cringe.
But I still think it's important to post and to film ourselves and just put it out there,
100%.
I didn't have Instagram when I started dancing bachata, and it was a friend of mine who I met in the bachata school, my first bachata school. That's how we met actually. He asked me to film him after the dance, after the class, and he was doing the sequence, and we started talking and all this, and then he was like, no, you have to post and share the path that we go on and all this. And then after a few months we became friends, and we went together to our first super tiny bachata festival. And that's after this festival, that's when I opened my Instagram account again, and I created it again. And I started posting a little bit more, and because of this I started filming myself more as well, and started sharing more, and it's so good now. I don't regret it. It's so good that I have these videos from almost the beginning, and I see the difference, and it's very good. And every time people are like, oh, because now I dance a little bit better, so some people are like, oh, I want to dance like you, and I'm just beginner, whatever. And I'm like, it's okay. Look, this is a video of me when I was 6 months like you, So if I can do it, you can do it too. Don't worry. It's okay.
And I'm someone who I will post my fumbles. So even if there's a dance where there's like a mistake, like a fumble, I'll still post it. Like it is what it is. Someone said to me that like those are the beautiful things in dance, because when a dance is perfection, then it loses almost like its feeling. Right? Which I want to get into. So you made a post when you were in Paris dancing. I want to read it because it really like sat with me for a while. I don't know what it was, but it was very inspiring. So here, when you were in Paris, you wrote, "I went to a bachata festival in Paris, but I barely danced. Here's why. On the first night of the pre-party, I had planned to go out, but my body felt exhausted. I was tired, really tired. So I did something I almost never do. I stayed in, I rested, sauna, pool, gym, silence, meditation. No social media. Sometimes the most conscious thing we can do is listen to our body. I told myself I'd dance the next day, but when I got to the socials, something felt off. The musicality was there, the talent was undeniable, but the presence wasn't. So many were dancing alone, side by side, chasing instruments instead of connection. performing instead of sharing. And I wondered, are we slowly turning bachata into a solo show with two people on stage? Maybe this is because of Jack and Jill, I'm not sure. I love musicality. I love Jack and Jill competitions. I love the challenge of catching the tiniest sounds, but not before connection, never before presence, never before coming to the other and saying without words, "Hi, I'm here with you." Because, like any relationship, polarity matters, direction and softness, giving and receiving. It's not about being perfect, it's about being there. And for most of the weekend, I didn't feel many people were until the after party. No rush, no roles, just people dancing again for real. That night reminded me why I love this dance so much. So you posted this when? My screenshot didn't say. When were you in Paris?
So I don't know exactly what was the day. I think I posted this on Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday, because the after party was Monday. And I left Tuesday, so I'll probably post it on Tuesday. And this was November 3rd was the after party, or 4th, or something like this. It was that weekend, end of October, beginning of November. And I posted it because that's what I was feeling, you know. In this festival, I didn't have any videos or anything like this, even of the social itself. You know, sometimes like I post the ambience, like, oh, look, I'm here. Many people didn't even know I was there. Like, oh, you're here. I didn't know. And it's because when I went to Paris, I was very tired. I was very sad with my life, you know, nothing to do with bachata. So I went and I was like, okay, it's the pre-party. I went early because I wanted to go to the pre-party, but I went to dinner and I was waiting for the pre-party time to begin. And when it came at 11, I think it was 11, I was like, I'm not feeling it. So I just stayed home. I stayed at the hotel and I just stayed. So it's like maybe I just rest a little bit, just rest half an hour, and then I'll go later. But as the minutes passed, I felt that I was like, no, I really don't want to go. I just want to rest and sleep. So I made this conscious decision. I was like, no, I'm just gonna sleep, and I have the whole weekend, so tomorrow I'll go. And the next day when I arrived, so my friends arrived the next day. Um, and I went to the festival. I was excited, but you know, when we go to a social, usually when I go to a social, I'm looking for something special. The, of course, like we can dance, have fun. You know, there's a lot of things involved in dancing. But if I had to choose one thing, is I am looking for a special girl that dances with me, someone who has some different energy, some presence, who looks at me and we are there together. And then if she's an amazing dancer too, then I have this freedom because she allows me to express myself through the dance. And this is what I love. So when I go dancing, this is what I'm looking for. It doesn't matter if it's a festival or not, just any dancing. This is on a normal day, that's what I'm looking for. Um, and I didn't find it because every person that I was inviting or something like this, or I was looking at them dancing, and I usually just breathe in the beginning. I'm just like, okay, I'm here. And I could feel that they were not breathing with me, for example. So I'm like, I come from down to up, I lift them a little bit with my frame, and I just take a deep breath. And if they breathe with me, that's immediately there's the immediate connection.
100%.
People talk about like what is connection, and this starts like for me it starts with this. We're just like, okay,
1000%.
let's breathe together, And sometimes they're just like they're not breathing. I'm just breathing alone. They're not with me yet, you know. And sometimes they take their time. But in this festival, it was very rare for me to connect with the followers. I did have amazing connections with many people. Most of them I already knew, and they were already my friends. So I already had some type of vulnerability and connection with them. Um, but because I had so many dances like this, I feel this inspired, and I kind of feel like, huh, you know. So when I even with the people that I already know and I already feel connected with, I don't have anything to give them because as a leader we are giving, we are
Correct.
creating, um, and and because of this feeling, when I went to dance with these people that maybe there were more people that were maybe able to connect with me, but I didn't have this inspiration inside me anymore, you know. So this is what basically happened. And but at the same time, most people that I danced with, they had amazing musicality, you know. So for example, if the song started and there was a cha-cha or there was a ta-tung, pa-pung, these little sounds, sometimes they would be moving alone. Even I was like breathing and they're like, "Dun, dun, dun, dun." It's like, wait, take a deep breath. We can do this later, There's many sounds in the song. Um, or just not looking at me at all, looking around. So no presence.
Right.
And so this is what the post was about. And in the after party, I felt way more connected. The people there, they were, of course, they still had musicality and all this, but most people in the after party, they were there to dance with me, even though they had their musicality and all this. So I had better dances on average. So, of course, this inspired me to give
Of
more,
course.
and it's a virtuous cycle
Big.
instead of a vicious cycle.
I wanted to have this conversation with you because I felt very similar to kind of what you felt like this last weekend. And I did a personal
Hmm.
post about it on my page, which I'm not allowed to touch my business's page, probably for this reason exactly. I'm someone who's very forward, very direct, like this is how I
Hmm.
feel. And I gave an example of feeling disconnected in my own community, in my own city, specifically with an event that I attended that weekend. And at first I really blamed myself, right? That I was tired. I had an early morning workout. I just got back from traveling. Maybe I wasn't connecting. And I kept going outside, just getting a breath of fresh air, trying to come back in. But what I really felt was the environment just didn't have that connection and that presence. And what I have experienced around the world in the community. I had great dances with leads. I had great connection with leads, but the overall connection, I didn't feel. And I'm someone who is the last one on the dance floor. I'll close the socials. And I left early twice. And the best way to put it is exactly your words. I was so uninspired for the very first time after like a year and a half, a year and a bit that I've been dancing. And I haven't danced this entire week. Like it's really disconnected me. And it got me looking at that post again that I had read when I was still very inspired. But I thought
Hmm.
exactly like, how often does this happen? What do we do with it? And how can we do better?
Well, I don't know how often this happens to people in general. To me, it doesn't happen super often, luckily. I'm very grateful for that. Um, I think I've seen a pattern a little bit, and I think in Europe at least, and all over the world, Jack and Jill competitions are really taking over the festivals. It's all about Jack and Jill. There's Jack and Jill everywhere. And there's this new generation. I mean, me included, because I only started dancing a little bit less than 2 years ago. But I think like this last year, Jack and Jill like really took over the all the festivals. So there's almost no festivals without some type of competition, either Jack and Jill or a couple competition with fixed couples or something like this, but there's Jack and Jill everywhere. And I've seen, or I felt that the festivals that don't have the Jack and Jill, they have way more connection between the dancers. There's a lot more social dancing and less performance. And of course, I'm generalizing, of course, in even where in the festivals that have Jack and Jill competitions, there's a lot of connection. And of course, even in the festivals that don't have the competitions, there's also people who don't connect and are performing all the time. But I'm generalizing, and this is what I kind of see this pattern taking place more and more. And it's interesting because I think there's going to be kind of a two directions at the same time in the festivals and in the dance community, which is some festivals are gonna go more and more for the Jack and Jills, and then other festivals are gonna go more and more for the connection and the social dancing aspect. So back to bringing people together, and I think it's going to be more and more separate like this. But it's very interesting to watch this happening, and I think the new generation who started in this last year, they arrived in bachata already with the Jack and Jill thing happening.
Yes, but for me, yes,
right?
Yeah.
So they learn about musicality very very fast. They don't even have their technique developed, and they're already thinking about the cha-cha and the musicality. So I think this, of course, it's inevitable that this will influence the dance, the social dancing aspect, because you learn to dance in a different way. And in a way, people become better dancers, like technically speaking, and more impressive. And there's some good aspect about it, I think. But if they don't learn about connecting with themselves and then with other people as well, then there is no polarity. So there is no vulnerability, there is no leading and following, really.
Yes.
You know, the leaders just think about doing some moves and, don't think about the connection with the followers and how the followers feel. And the followers just think about catching that the little instrument there, and they will disturb the leading. And it's like, I don't care about whatever he was planning on doing. I just want to stop and catch these little sounds. For what? You're not being judged. You're you're not in Jack and Jill. We're just having a party, But even okay, it could be for a video or something like this or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just a party. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
We're just enjoying our time together and dancing in couple and with other people. So yeah, if you really think about it, it doesn't really make sense. It's just we're showing off for nobody. Nobody cares.
So
This is
this
just
is this is exactly it, right? This is like everything looks so perfect and polished on Instagram that I think some people they lose that connection because they get so down on themselves on what it should actually look like, and they forget why they joined this community in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday I was talking. I'm here in Taiwan right now, and I was talking with a person here about this subject, about how we forget why we started dancing. Um, and I was telling her that people start dancing for very different reasons, and also the reasons why you start dancing might not be the same reasons why you continue dancing. So it kind of changes. So for me, for example, when I started dancing, it was just a hobby and a challenge.
Yeah.
I wanted to know how to do it. I was like, this move, I want to learn this. It was about the learning. I enjoyed it. And yeah, but so many guys, they start dancing because they think they're gonna meet some girl there, for example, and they
Right.
do. But
Right.
then maybe they fall in love with bachata, or with zouk or whatever dance they're into, and then they're like, "Whoa, there's so much more than just meeting some girl. Maybe there's this feeling, or there's this move. There's this. They discover new things, and then they stay for different reasons.
Right.
When I started dancing, for example, after 7 months of dancing, I went to my officially second festival, and the first big festival that was in Barcelona. It was BCN Hot Weekend in 2024 in July, and that was the first time I danced in Barcelona. Okay, and of course, I mean, the people there dance way better than in Lisbon, and than me. I felt like I was awful dancer, but at the same time very inspired, because I was like, wow, this is possible. All these people, they're amazing dancers. I want to come here and live here, and improve, and become like them. But one thing, I made friends with many people there, and there was one common feedback that all the followers, no exception, all the followers gave to me. And they all said the same thing. Okay. They all said, okay, you are a soft leader for 7 months. Of course, you don't know like a crazy moves or whatever, but you're clear, and I understand what you want, and you're not forcing me, so I like dancing with you, but you don't connect.
Wow.
Yeah, this was the first time I heard about connection. And I was very so I listened to this feedback, and I was like, oh yeah, but of course, like I'm concentrating on the dance, I'm thinking about the moves. And they're like, yeah, but you don't look me in the eyes, you're not there, you're somewhere else you know So they all said exactly the same thing. Clear and all this, very good for 7 months, but you don't connect with me. You're not there with me. And I realized that slowly I started to, because I was resisting this feedback, but at the same time I was also accepting that I mean, if they all say the same thing, they're seeing something. So, and then in Barcelona, I stayed there a week, and I connected way more with the people, with the followers, and I started to feel what it was like to connect with somebody, you know. And when I came back to Lisbon, then I understood, because I was dancing with the followers, and I was, even before the dance started, I was just looking at them, and the basic step, and they were somewhere else, and I was like, huh. These girls don't connect. Now I'm trying to connect, and they don't connect with me. So it was very interesting, this subject.
And do you feel that, okay, because I've taken lessons in Miami. He was trained in Spain, but in Miami, in LA, and Vegas, and he was trained in Mexico. Do you think that this is a conversation that they have during training, like during lessons about connection? Because any kind of like what I'm going to talk about, like free lessons, how you get like those, the free class before the social or something like that. And I've taken many of those, especially when I first started dancing. No one talked about connection. Do they talk about connection through your training, for example, or like in Europe?
Um, I don't. I think people are starting to talk about it more now. But I don't know if you ever tried teaching a class, like a workshop before the social.
Me?
But yeah,
Like me teaching?
you
Hell no. No, I'm still a
know.
beginner. Are you kidding? No.
So I was teaching maybe 2 or 3 workshops when we met. We met in Bangkok,
Hmm.
and my friend that she became my friend, invited me. She has a school in Chiang Mai, Jiaoying, and she
Yes.
invited me to do some workshops there. because they don't have like so many leaders. And I danced good enough at the time to teach something, and to share a little bit of my very small knowledge. um so, and in this experience, it was the first time I was teaching a workshop like this. Okay. um and in this experience, it's like, I mean, you never know who is going to come to the workshops. And this the people who come, many of them are beginners. In Chiang Mai, there was one of the socials. There were two guys who had never danced bachata ever. It was their first time doing a basic step. Okay, so when we are when we are teaching somebody for the first time, you're not talking about connection. You're talking about the technique. You know, you are trying to motivate them. You're trying to do something simple so that they can follow your instructions, but at the same time, it must be exciting and fun so that they like it. They like this experience, and they do everything wrong, but it's okay because they are happy about it. And
Right.
then they'll come back next time, and then they'll improve a little bit. And this is something that when I did the teacher's course with Jorge and Judith in Barcelona, this is one of the things that they were teaching. They were explaining this something. I mean, they explained many things, but this is very specific thing that got stuck in my mind, because in my view before, I was thinking that no, as a teacher, you have to be focused on the technique, and it has to be very well. The things have to be well done well. That I have to learn proper technique, proper bachata, the micro movements, everything perfect. Because I had a bachata central teacher, um, Greg, who basically was the person who really taught me the technique for real, and who had the most impact on my learning of bachata central technique. And he's very detail oriented. He's like, he really knows every single part of his body. So it's hard. It takes time. And I was thinking, no, I like this. This is what should be done. We should start from the beginning. I wish my first teacher was like this. But that's not what Corke said. Corke was like, no, um, you are teaching beginners. And he said one phrase that I will never forget, if unless I have Alzheimer's or something. He said, your first bachata teacher might not be the best dancer, might not be the best teacher that you'll have, but he's the most important one, and you should always be grateful to him. And I was like, why? Because he was the one who made you fall in love with dancing. And I was thinking about my teacher in Portugal. I was thinking about him, how he doesn't have he's very salsero. Maybe he doesn't have the bachata central technique super uh, implemented in his teaching and even in his dancing. But it doesn't matter, because he's teaching beginners, and he's making us all fall in love with dancing. And I loved his classes.
Yeah.
And I would be so happy at the end of the day to go to change clothes, drive half an hour, and go to his classes for just an hour, and then go
Right.
home.
Right.
You know, so of course we're not talking about connection in this environment in the
Yeah.
beginning. It's something that you discover slowly. You know.
I love that, because now you got me thinking back to my first teacher, who I still see when I'm in Miami. And he's the one that, if I get this step, that, because I mean, when I was seeing him, I hardly knew anything. I think it took me like 4 hours to learn the Madrid step. Like it took me a long time. So now when like there's a video and it's like clean, I'll send that to him, because I think like a year ago, I had no idea how to do it. So it's like these little things, or, he'll see a video and I'll wake up in the morning to like all of these like kind suggestions on how it can be better. And I'm grateful for that. Like some of my friends will say, "Oh my God, like how rude." And I said, "No, it's amazing, because I'm not paying him at that time. But as his student, he takes the time to look at it and offer suggestions on how I can do better." He's also someone who taught me about, or inspired me with, the community. When you talk about like falling in love with it, like I fell in love not only with the dance, but with the people and the community. And I always say that unless if you don't dance, you don't get it, because I think we're a little bit crazy. Like we dance everywhere. We want to be together everywhere. Every city we go to, we try to find some place to dance, and it really is an amazing community.
It's like a secret society. People don't know about it.
Exactly.
And
Thousand
then we go
percent.
everywhere and there's a party and we're all
Thousand
friends.
percent. I love that you say
And
that.
everybody knows each other, Like last night
100%.
I went to random social last night, and there's a guy I was talking with people that I met in March in Vietnam who live here. And there's the random dude. He was like dancing and looking at me, and I was like, "Hi." And he was like, "Oh, hello." And we shake hands. And he started asking about where I'm from and all these kids. He was not Asian. He was a Western, a guy. And he was like, "Oh, I'm from Amsterdam." And like, well, one of my ex teachers, he lives in Amsterdam. And I show the Instagram. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know her because, oh, you see this video here? This other girl, she's my ex." And I was like, "Oh, your ex is my friend. She's my friend from Lisbon." So, so everybody knows each other. It's really good. And we
It's
send a video
crazy.
to her. It's like, "Oh, look, I found your
It's
ex."
what, yes, that's what, that's another podcast that we're going to do one day about dating in the dancing community, and what your thoughts are on that. That's a whole other topic though. Funny that you say that though, because someone FaceTimed me from Thailand, because I sent someone that I met dancing in Toronto to their social. So they FaceTime me the other day. Also, someone that I danced with in Thailand now works for me in my company.
Wow,
It's crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. I know we're wrapping up for your time. You've got socials to be at. I want to just leave it with, going back to that post about disconnecting and really taking the time for yourself. What is your advice to anyone out there that might be kind of feeling a disconnection in their community, or a disconnection from a social, or just not like, what is your suggestion to them on what to do?
Hmm, I would say, I would say, I would tell them to ask themselves what they are doing, what they are contributing to this disconnection, especially if you're a leader. Also, if you're a follower, but like extra special if you're a leader. Because, sure, we are, uh, the environment, of course, will change how we feel and all this. But at the end of the day, when you go have a dance with somebody, is a new experience. Every single dance is a new experience, you know. And sometimes we go start this dance already with some pre-existing ideas about, oh, I already danced with this person, I know how it is, or whatever. But maybe it's not. Maybe
Yeah.
this girl improved,
Yes.
her technique. Maybe now she breathes with me before the dance. So I should be present, you know. And then if it's an invitation, then if she doesn't decide to accept the invitation, it's okay. We just have a fun dance, far away, whatever. And then it's only like 2, 3 minutes. You can survive 2, 3 minutes.
Exactly.
But maybe she accepts the invitation. Maybe she wants to connect with you, and maybe you have the best dance ever. And then at the end, it's like, wow, another one, you know?
Yeah.
So, and as a follower, I would say it's kind of the same thing. Like, what am I allowing myself to connect with the leaders? Really? Am I am I okay with being vulnerable? Because extra special for the followers is that when you're following, you are extra vulnerable. You are there. It's like, okay, lead me. I'm yours. You know? So it's an extra vulnerability. And many people are not okay with this vulnerability. But for you to connect in dancing and in life, but especially in dancing, for you to really follow, you have to connect with yourself and be okay and trusting the other person and be okay with being vulnerable with them. And this is more than just physically, because we can protect ourselves physically, as a follower. You can learn techniques on how to protect yourself from harsh cambres or something like this. But what I'm talking about is more emotional, is being there with your heart open to the other person. That's what I'm talking about. This vulnerability is an emotional vulnerability. It's not about the technical part of the dancing, because you can have two amazing dancers who do everything perfect, and they can even be smiling and looking at you, but the emotion, they're not there together. They're not vulnerable, you know. So you have to kind of decide if you are okay when you step into this new dance with this person, if you're okay with vulnerability. What is the maximum vulnerability, I guess, that you want in this dance. And if you're not okay with vulnerability, it's okay, you can still dance. It's the song. But then don't think about, oh, people don't connect. I know I have to connect first, and then I can also connect with the other people.
And energy doesn't lie. There's no way to fake it.
That's
Energy does
true.
not lie. There's no way to fake it. Even like you said, if you got the best dancers, they're smiling, you can feel the energy. And if the energy's off, it's not beautiful. It's not a connection.
But sometimes it's about both people having the same energy. So if both of them are musicality, whatever, but they're not there, at the end of the dance, maybe they're like, wow, amazing, I loved it, both of them, and they feel so connected with each other, you know? So I think because both of them have the same level of vulnerability, but if one of the dancers is way more vulnerable and way more, when it comes more from the heart, and the other person doesn't, then there's a disconnection.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
100%.
so it's very interesting. All this, like, we could talk
I
about
know,
this for
I know.
hours.
I was looking at the time already. I'm already past the time that I promised you, so I'm going to wrap up. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's like 3 o'clock in the morning for you, so
Yeah,
thanks for
almost
doing
4.
this. Thank you for doing this podcast with me. I am going to link your information in the description. So I know you're kind of traveling the world right now, so people can book privates with you. Just tell us your Instagram and how they can reach out to you if they want to book privates.
Yeah, you just text them on my Instagram. Is Manuel Birn, or Burn, if you want. Burn with an I.
So spell it out for
For
us.
English speakers. It's Manuel, Manuel, Birne.
And you
Birne.
guys, book in now before he gets famous and forgets about us. That's all I'm going to say. Well, I'm excited to connect with you in whatever next country I'm going to be in. I hope I can book some privates with you. And I hope to have you on the podcast again. Thank you for sharing your experience. And thank you so much for that beautiful post that you did and for being vulnerable and showing that there is this side of, the perfect Instagrammable moments as well. Thank you for sharing with that.
Thank you.
Till next week, you guys. We'll see you soon.